Thank you very much. It's a great honor to have with us the Prime Minister of Hungary. And Viktor Orban has done a tremendous job in so many different ways, highly respected all over Europe. Probably, like me, a little bit controversial, but that's okay. That's okay. You've done a good job.
Joining me now is New York Times journalist Robert Draper. Welcome, Robert. Let's take a look. About 140 people or so involved in this Project 2025. They are former Trump administration officials. But you've seen Trump recently trying to distance himself from the Heritage Foundation and its policy blueprint. I'm going to play some newly discovered video of Trump from 2022, which appears to repudiate his claim that he, quote, knows nothing about Project 2025 and who's behind it. Take a listen.
Heritage does such an incredible job, and they're going to lay the groundwork and detail plans for exactly what our movement will do and what your movement will do when the American people give us a colossal mandate to save America. And that's coming. That's coming.
That wasn't very long ago. Why is Trump now attempting to disavow this group and its plans for a second term?
Sure. And Alex, just so your viewers know, Project 2025 is the brainchild of the Heritage Foundation, the conservative think tank that Trump was referencing just then. He's trying to distance himself from it, I think, for a couple of reasons. One is political and the other is personal. The political reason is because he knows that there are some pretty strident things in there relating to the gutting of the federal bureaucracy, relating to defunding the abortion pill, to slashing funding for green energy. And he's concerned that that might alienate suburban voters. And so he would rather get by with the minimum. That's the political end of it. The personal end of it is that President Trump likes to take credit for the things that, emanate from his administration or from his campaign. He wants people to believe that everything came from him, and he doesn't like the idea of anyone else getting credit for his policy notions. And so once he does have policies in place, he'll claim full credit for them, and he doesn't want it to look like that someone is stage whispering exactly what his administration is going to be propounding.
Yeah, but the Heritage Foundation, to your point, it has shaped the policies of Republican administrations since, the Reagan presidency. But then if you look at 2025, it contains positions much further right than previous administrations. Give us an example of some of its most extreme proposals, who they would impact, and is the Biden campaign accurate when it calls the project an authoritarian blueprint?
Sure. Well, I mean, you mentioned a couple of them yourself, but, to reiterate the basically eliminating the Department of Education, there's more insidious stuff, too, relating to gutting the federal bureaucracy, but also so-called depoliticizing the intelligence community and, for that matter, using the Department of Justice as a weapon, basically, to go after, to enable a president such as Trump to go after his opponents. And so this is something that we've never seen before. And you're certainly correct that the Heritage Foundation has played a role in a lot of conservative presidencies, most recently Donald Trump's. In 2017, they played a very big role in staffing kind of middle management. And so for him to suggest that he's got nothing to do with this, despite the fact that 140 or so former Trump administration staffers have worked on this, is a bit disingenuous.
Yeah. This week you have the Republican National Committee, which has adopted Trump's platform as its 2024 policy platform as we go into the convention on Monday. And you write about that, saying the barely 15-page document reads like a transcript from a Trump rally, opening with 20 statements, including stop the migrant invasion, end inflation, keep men out of women's sports. Are the RNC platform and Project 2025 similar in tone or detail at all?
They're somewhat similar in tone, but in detail, they couldn't be more different, at least insofar as the platform is a so-called short form. The last Republican platform we saw was written in 2016, and it was something like 67 pages. And this is less than 1/4 of that amount, and very deliberately so. And much to the consternation, particularly of social conservatives, people in the anti-abortion movement, who wanted to see very, very strong language and very unambiguous language, supporting the pro-life movement. That's not in there. And there also isn't a whole lot of language in the Project 2025 document relating to abortion. There's some, but again, the people who crafted Project 2025 are prominent social conservatives like Ross Vogt, who was the head of Office of Management and Budget in the Trump administration, and his feelings regarding abortion are quite clear.
The RNC platform, though, why is it so deliberately vague? Is there something more sinister behind it? I think it is just the word abortion appears once in that whole RNC platform.
Sure. Well, again, there were something like, I think, 112 representatives from all of the states and territories who gathered in Milwaukee to sit down for a couple of days and produce a document. And basically 1 hour after they sat down, they were handed a document, in other words, a cake that was already baked, and basically said, here's the platform. We're about to vote on it. And it was quite shocking to a lot of them who were expecting to see very specific language. But Alex, I mean, the direct answer to your question is, the Trump campaign wants to get by with the minimum. They don't want to have a document that would circulate that they can't distance themselves from. They're attempting to distance themselves from Project 2025 and have a certain plausible deniability insofar as it wasn't written by the campaign the way the platform was. Though, again, it's a bit specious to be suggesting that there's no association whatsoever. The platform, though, is clearly tied to the Trump administration, to the Trump campaign. So they wanted to have a very small document that basically wouldn't give anyone, anything to weaponize against them.
One major concern is this shakeup of the federal workforce, making it more loyal to Donald Trump. Do you have expectations that members of the Heritage Foundation could find their way into positions within the Trump administration?
I don't just have expectations or suspicions. I'm confident that they will. That happened the last time. There's in 2017, and they were quite proud of the fact. Their PAC arm, Heritage Action, the people in charge of it were very proud in saying to me the very direct role that they had in placing some of their own in that administration. There's absolutely no reason to believe that there won't be more of the same.
Robert Draper, great article. Come see us again. Thank you so much.
누가 상상할 수 있었겠습니까? 트럼프 최고령도자 동지와 트럼프 대통령 사이에 단독 회담이 진행되었습니다. 경의하는 최고령도자 동지께서는 달라진 시대적 요구에 맞게 새로운 조미 관계를 수립하고 조선반도의 항구적이며 경의하는 최고령도자 동지께서는 전용기에서 내리시어 영접 나온 싱가포르 정부 간부들과 따뜻한 인사를 나누셨습니다. 조선반도는 물론 인류의 평화와 무한한 존경심을 안고 열렬히 환영했습니다. 상상할 수 있었겠습니까? 선노동당 중앙위원회 부위원장들인 김영철 동지, 리수영 동지, 뇌무상 리영노도자 동지께서는 트럼프 대통령과 역사적인 문건을 채택한 기념으로 뜻깊은 사진을 찍으시고 작별 인사를 나누셨습니다.
Hey NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.
This isn't hyperbole.
A vote for Donald Trump
may mean the last election that you ever get to vote in.
This is an exaggeration.
He's a threat to democracy.
This is Donald J. Trump. He was the 45th president of the United States. He caused an insurrection at the Capitol. And sorry to ruin your Christmas, but he's running again. This guy is openly running as a wannabe dictator. Trump said he would terminate the Constitution so he could be president again. Do you know who also did that? Mussolini, Chavez, Pinochet, all of them shelved their constitutions to centralize power. Trump is planning to purge tens of thousands of civil servants and replace them with loyalists. Authoritarian Viktor Orban used the same tactic to dismantle Hungary's democracy. Donald Trump's chances of winning are very real. The alarm is going off. Everyone needs to wake up. We have a choice between protecting our democracy or letting Trump destroy it. It's time to get off the sidelines. We can't let Donald Trump get close to the Oval Office again.
You want to take a picture with me? A total?
Disgrace to the world.
Let's just do it and then be done.
Above the entrance of the Supreme Court are these words: equal justice under law. Last week, the conservative justices put some new writing on those walls, figuratively. The President of the United States is above the law. Instead of equal justice under the law, they replaced it with the President of the United States is above the law. In the aftermath of the 2020 elections, Donald Trump and his allies conspired for weeks to undermine the will of the people and halt the peaceful transfer of power. These efforts culminated in a violent insurrection on January 6th. These are the facts. Many of us lived in the Senate, lived through it. I was within 30 feet of the hooligans who invaded the Capitol. No free nation can condone a tyrant who abuses his office to try and cling to power. But that is, in effect, what the conservative majority on the Supreme Court has done. By ruling Donald Trump enjoys broad immunity from criminal prosecution for his actions as president after the 2020 election, the conservative majority has violated the most basic premise of our Constitution, that no man is above the law. Most Americans will see what the court did and think it was grossly political, a shameless attempt to help Donald Trump out. I worry that over time, Americans will increasingly lose trust in what the courts say. They've already begun to lose that trust with these right-wing MAGA decisions, very few of them found in any precedent at all. It could be an unraveling of trust in our democratic institutions. The good news is that the Constitution provides a remedy to the Supreme Court's terrible decision. Congress has the authority to exercise strong checks on the judiciary through legislation. We should look precisely into that. One possible avenue, clarifying that Donald Trump's election subversion acts do not count as official acts of the presidency. Such a notion should hardly be controversial, and I am working with my colleagues on legislation to see what kind of proposals would be appropriate. We were all taught in grade school there are no kings here in America, but what the conservative justices have done is placed the crown on the head of Donald Trump. They declared, in effect, the same thing Nixon told David Frost in 1977 when, quote, he said, this is what Nixon said, chased out of office for potential criminal acts. Quote, when the president does it, that means it's not illegal. That's going to be the new, quote, rule of law in America with these justices? What a bone-chilling proposition. If future presidents no longer fear prosecution for their conduct in office, then what the heck is going to rein them in? One election every 4 years? That's cold comfort if a corrupt president can use their office to undermine elections in the first place. It's a catch-22, a very evil one. It's autocracy 101. What if future presidents order the DOJ to arrest election workers? What if they escalate their attacks on the press? What if they take bribes in exchange for favors or money? And what if in each of these instances they claim they were acting in official capacity? America would be in a state of constitutional pandemonium. The American people are tired of justices who think they're beyond accountability. We in Congress should be open to sensible, reasonable solutions to restore the checks and balances that the MAGA court has taken away. Yield the floor.